Stone Sage, how y'all doing today? I'm going to talk a little bit about bullying and my run-ins with that. I'd moved a lot as a child because of my father's work, and usually 3 weeks out of the month he was gone, and the 1 week he was there, didn't see a whole lot of him. So it was pretty much my mother, myself, my sister, and then later on my brother and other sister. But we'd moved 2 times in New York. The first time we moved, my bus stop was like a house or two away, so it was no big deal walking. The second place we moved was in the wintertime, and it was a block. I had to walk the full block. Our house was at the end, and our bus stop was at the other end. No big deal. Again, I'd gotten used to the snow in Fayetteville and the cold, and I guess my first week or so walking down that block, there was a neighbor kid, a couple houses away from mine that was a bigger, and I guess he thought he ran the street. Well, walking home from school one day, he decides he's going to shove my face in the snow. Now, up there was a lot of gravel on the road, and the snowbanks were high, and it was hard. And he got my face, and he just smashed it in the snow, and he gave me a hard time, and then walked away. And of course, the little kid went home, told my mom, said, "Mom, this kid beat me up, blah, blah, blah," put my face in the snow. And she says, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" I said, "Well, I didn't know." I said, "I didn't know." I said, "You have to just learn how to deal with it." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, it's you got to figure it out." I said, "All right." So this happened again a couple more times. And I told my mom, she says, "We'll figure it out." So probably I guess a week or so into this, I finally said, "Okay, this is it." I was getting tired of this crap. So we're walking home, and he gets ready to go push my face in the snow again, and I just go, I guess what they call medieval. I just started swinging, kicking. I mean, I went wild on this guy, and he didn't expect it. And once I started going wild on him, he just kind of backed up and moved away, and he just left me alone. And I walked home, and same thing. Told my mom, "Yeah, both kids did that." She said, "Well, I guess you handled it." I said, "Yeah, I guess so." And after that, kid never bothered me again. About I guess a year or so later, we moved to New Jersey. Getting much different neighborhood, different people, and my dad had this thing the last weekend of school or whatever he was there, he would basically like cut my hair short. I mean, nothing. And that I didn't really like. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of choice. But we had to, he cut my hair, and halfway through, he was just going like, so I had half a head of hair and no hair. Well, the razor thing broke, and I had half a head of hair. There wasn't anything at the house to finish it up. So my parents decided, well, we'll take him to the barber shop. Well, my dad didn't want to do it because he'd be embarrassed, so he talked my mom into doing it. Well, my mom drove me down to the barber shop, gave me I forget what, $1 or whatever it was. I'm not sure. I don't think it was that much, but she gave me the money and said, "Call when you're done." And there was a phone across the street, so I got my hair done. I walked into the barber shop, and they go, "Oh, what happened?" I said, "Yeah, the razor broke." I said, "Yeah, we've seen that before." So sat down, waited, and got my hair finished, paid them, and walked across the street to use the phone. And as I'm standing there getting ready to use this phone, some kid comes up and says, "Well, I want your money." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "No, you've got money in your hand." I said, "I want it." I said, "No, I'm not going to give it to you." So we start pushing each other around, and this guy got a little bit bigger and older because he wanted to take advantage of me. All of a sudden, this guy, seen at school, he was one of the rough guys, but I got along with everybody because we moved so many times. And he comes up, I remember his name, Sammy D'Angelo. And this Sammy just, pow, hit this guy, and this guy just was floored. And he ran away. And I said, looked at Sammy, and I said, "Wow, thank you, man." He said, "Hey, no problem, kid." And after that, he walked away, and I called my mom and said, "Okay, well, I'm done. Come on and pick me up." And I guess about 10 minutes later, she came and picked me up, and I didn't tell her about Sammy or any of that. I figured it's already done and over, so went home. And after that, I didn't really have a whole lot of. We moved to Pennsylvania after that, and by that time, I'd again another move, another state. So I'd learned again how to get, I guess, work with people. It was very friendly. My dad always said we had the gift of gab. And between that and moving so many and being able to learn to meet people, I never really had any more issues with bullies. And that's my issue on bullies. Now, I don't know. Do you ever have any things like that happen to you in your life? And Stone Sage, peace out.